Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Save News TV and welcoming us into your homes. We know that you don't have to, but you do. Well, today we have a lot of news, and um, coming from Biden sending $500,000 per organization to atheist group to spread atheism. We are in a recession. We just had the second quarter of the downfall, 0.9%. We have a lot. North Korea threatening the United States. People are not satisfied. So let's, really get into it this morning. We're going to start off again. Like, share, and subscribe, please. Share. Like the video, follow us. And let's just get into it right now because, baby, it's a lot to get into. All righty. So here we go. All right. First of all, we're going to start with the first 100 day, the 100 days before midterm elections, and we know people are dissatisfied, and Americans are not happy at all. This is from USA Today, and 100 days before midterm, Americans are anxious about the future and unhappy about their options. USA Today, Suffolk University poll shows Democrats with a narrow advantage over Republicans on the congressional ballot, 44% to 40%, a bit better than 40-40 split they scored in June. But gloom about the nation's economy and politics still poses hurdles for Democrat hopefuls and avoiding significant losses in November. By 7 to 42%, voters say they want to elect a Congress that mostly stands up to Joe Biden rather than being one that mostly cooperates with him. Now, that is telling, and that is why I stated earlier that it is important to vote what's important to you, not what is important to someone else. We have a Congress that every step and barrel, they do not think about their constituents. They do not think about the consequences. If Nancy Pelosi, Schumer says, vote this way, they all vote that way. There's no crossing the aisle, no nothing. It is all or nothing. And that is dangerous politics. That's agenda-filled politics. And that will get us where we are today. So again, like I said, I am an independent. I have no loyalty to Republicans, loyalty to Democrats. I vote for what's in the best interest of me and what I believe. So it's important for you to do the same. We're not going to go through all this article, but of course, I'm going to give you the opportunity to read it for yourself. I'm going to put it in the chat. One thing I have to say is Facebook has blocked us, different streaming services. So if you're watching on Facebook, I strongly encourage you to come over to YouTube channel, Saved News TV, and watch over here because they do not allow the chat. So the information that I'm sharing out is not going to get to you. So it is what it is. All right. So we're not going to spend much time on that because we have so much news to cover. And so we're going to go next to North Korea. Now, the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, we talked about China threatening the U.S. if Nancy Pelosi goes over to Taiwan. And today, just 7 hours ago, it was reported that, and this is coming from UPI News, that North Korea is ready to use nukes in conflict with the U.S., Kim Jong-un says. I mean, it's almost like it's a battle to who wants to get America first, because America, there's no fear there, as far as from other countries, other nations. There's no respect with this administration. No one respects him, and they are just having their way with America. It is what it is, and it's almost like there's America Biden administration want a conflict to get the Americans' attention off of what's really happening, and that is a recession. This country is in trouble, and we need to wake up. But anyway, so North Korea leader Kim Jong-un said he is prepared to use his country's nuclear arsenal in a military clash with the United States and threatened to annihilate South Korea, the media reported on Thursday. And there he goes. He is not afraid. Kim made the remarks at an event Wednesday in Pyongyang commemorating the 69th anniversary of the armistice that ended fighting in the 1950 through 1953 Korean War. State-run Korean Central News Agency reported. He stated, "Our armed forces are thoroughly prepared to respond to any crisis, and our nation's nuclear weapons war deterrent is also prepared to mobilize its absolute strength faithfully, accurately, and promptly for its mission," Kim said. A celebration of the North Korean cause Victory Day includes fireworks, jet fighter flyovers, and performances. Okay, he goes on to say, the United States has caused the most serious harm to our nation's modern history, continues to engage in dangerous hostile acts against our republic today, Kim said. North Korea reaffirms its thorough readiness to deal with any military clash with the United States. I'm not going to go through all of this. I just want to share with you all what is going on and what he's saying. Again, I'm going to put this in the chat for you all to follow up and read. It is important for us to know these things that's going on in our world. Sometimes we get very, 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 very comfortable with just chilling, just chilling. And we can't afford to chill anymore. We really can't. We really cannot afford to chill. Now, as we go on, we're going to, that was just our preliminary things. Now we're going to take the two stories that we're going to spend more time with now. And 22 states sued the Biden administration from linking school lunches to gender identity agenda. So pretty much what this is the Biden administration stated that unless school districts accept the transgender outline that they put, as far as the boys being able to go into girls in the boys' bathroom, and things of that nature, that they're going to cut food for your children. School lunches will be cut if you don't comply to what they're saying. So in other words, millions upon millions upon millions of students will go hungry because he wants his agenda fulfilled. So this is what it says. 22 Republican attorney generals sued Tuesday to block. Oh, no, I have that for later. My bad. I have a what's the name for that later. But we're definitely going to go over that. We're going to talk about the economy now because that is vitally important here. And we want to make sure we spend enough time on it because we are in a recession. As you know, or you may not know, the Biden administration is now trying to redefine what recession means. The real definition of recession is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activities are reduced, generally identified by the fall in GDP in 2 consecutive quarters. So as you can see here, we are in the second quarter of the fall of the GDP. So there is no fear in a recession. We are in a recession. And I've been stating this for a couple of months now. But, the mainstream media and the administration wants to take the reality of things that what is and redefine them. Recession is what it is. Just because it's midterm elections and you want to be reelected, your people, that doesn't mean that you get to change the definition of a recession. People know we're in a recession because of how they're being unable to feed their family, how they have to have 2 jobs to survive, how they 2 or 3 jobs, how to survive, how they are not spending extra money because they have to buy gas, they have to buy food, they have to put a roof over their head. People know we're in a recession. So to play in our face, mainstream media and Joe Biden is not a good look. Don't play in our face. That's why only 11% of people trust mainstream media, because they lie, 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 and lie some more, you know. So anyway, we're in a recession. It is what it is. And the sooner we come to the realization of that, the better off we'll be. Okay, this is coming from the Associated Press. The U.S. economy shrank in April through June for the second straight quarter, contracting at a 0.09 annual pace and raising fears that the nation may be approaching a recession. See, now this AP is mainstream media also, but this right here, raising fears, there's no raising fears. The technical definition is when you have 2 quarters in which the GDP falls, you are technically in a recession. So please stop with the raising fears. We know we're in a recession. Okay, just announce it and let's get through it together instead of playing in our faces, lying to us, and changing definitions like you did with vaccine, what a vaccine is. Okay, the decline that the Commerce Department reported Thursday in the gross domestic product and broad of the economy followed a 1.6 annual drop from January through March. Consecutive quarters of falling GDP constitute one informal, though not definitive, indicator of a recession. This is a lie. I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call it out. From the beginning, when they started defining what a recession is, that was the definition until a few days ago when mainstream media, the Biden administration, decides they're going to change it. And they're going to put talking points out here so you all try to fool you in believing that we are not in a recession. Although I know that we're in a recession. Okay. So even though I read these articles, I also called out the falsities in these articles. All right. We're in a recession. The GDP report for the last quarter pointed to weakness across the economy. Consumer spending slowed, bought fewer goods. Of course. Why are you going to go buy goods when the price of food is so high that you have got to make a choice between feeding your family and going to work, or whatever, paying your rent. So what are you going to choose? Okay. Now I did a video the other day, and I'm going to put it in the chat, where I went over the put it in the chat now. Went over what the difference is as far as price rate rising from one to another, from last year to this year, 40, 50, 60%. Make sure you go over there and watch it. But we're in a recession, and it is what it is. Okay, where did I leave off? Because I have to read and stop, because you have to read things carefully, because they have a play on words, and they will try to trick you. Here we go. Business investment failed. Inventories tumbled as businesses slowed their restocking of shelves, shedding 2 percentage points from GDP. Well, businesses prices have increased. So that means the cost of doing business has increased. That means also that we needed to raise salaries of the people so they can live. So of course they're not buying as much. They understand this is what recession is. This is what happened when recession happened. Higher interest rates, a consequence of the Federal Reserve series of rate hikes, clobbered home construction and shrank at a 14% annual rate. Government spending dropped too. Now, come on. We know that right there is not true. When you send in billions upon billions upon billions of dollars to Ukraine and other places, you're spending FEMA money for that's supposed to be FEMA COVID money for that's supposed to be used to combat the disease, but you're misappropriating it and using it for people that cross over illegally and fund them. So let's get real here, y'all. We need, as we get closer to the elections, this is why we're doing a lot of reporting, so you all will know what's going on. And I bring receipts. Okay, the Federal Reserve, yes, they hiked interest rates to try to slow down spending, but also with the heighten of rates, businesses, it's more expensive to borrow money, so that impacts the nation also, and along with home buyers. But also, I have to say, let me go back up here again. The home purchases, people, I don't know what happened. I don't know what Kool-Aid they sold people, but people were buying houses. Let's say the house listed at $100,000. Wouldn't even see the house. They would raise the price. I'll do 125. I'll do 150. I'll do 200,000. House not even worth it. You're talking about a $60,000 house listed at $100,000 that's already jacked up price. And then people coming in sight unseen, buying property at 25, 35, 50%, 100% over the asking price. Now, these people are going to end upside down in these homes just in 2008. And I don't know whether you all remember 2008 recession, but if you do, that's where we're heading at. You know, as Americans, we live in a McDonald's society. We want everything now, 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 now. But when houses rates run up like that, you should know that sooner or later it's going to burst. And if you're at the top of that food chain where you have spent that money, type of money, you are going to be upside down in your house and you're going to lose it. I mean, history repeats itself, especially if you don't acknowledge history and learn from it. The report comes at a critical time. Consumers and businesses have been struggling under the weight of punishing inflation and higher borrowing costs. On Wednesday, the Fed raised its benchmark rate by a sizable 3/4 of a point for the second straight time in its push to conquer the worst inflation outbreak in 4 decades. Well, really, 4 decades, 41 years. Now, what's going to happen? Let's look at this paragraph here. The feds are going to raise it again in the next quarter. and again in the next quarter. Now it's at 2.5, 2.75%. I did a article, a video. Let me see if I can find it and put it in the chat, where the Feds was going to raise the rates and what they were going to raise them by. And so by the end of the year, they are looking to have a 3.25 to a let me see if I can find 3.25 to 3.5% increase to that. So we can sit here and act like we don't know, or we are definitely in denial, but we are going to, let's see, I'm looking for this. I'll find it and put it in the chat. I mean, in the description box later, because we have, or I'll tag it up here at the top. But we definitely have a lot that we're getting ready to experience. It is far from over, way, way far from over. So they talking about the Feds raising rates. They're going to raise it again. We're going to be at 3.25 to 3.75 by the end of the year. Currently, we at 2.5, 2.75. The Fed is hoping to achieve the notoriously difficult soft landing, an economic slowdown that manages to rein in rocketing prices without triggering a recession. Well, we're already in a recession. We discussed that. We're in a recession. Apart from the U.S., the global economy as a whole is also grappling with the high inflation and weakening growth, especially after Russia's invasion of the Ukraine sent energy and food prices soaring. See, let's stop here. This is a lie. Because before the Ukraine-Russian invasion happened towards the end of February of this year, prices and everything was skyrocketing. Gas was skyrocketing. Food was skyrocketing. Goods were skyrocketing. This is why I say it's important to vote for who takes responsibility. You know, things can be bad, and I have more respect for someone that will stand up and say, listen, this is bad. We are in a mess here. I take full responsibility. We are in a recession. No, it's not Russia-Ukraine conflict fault. This was happening before. The signs was there. It was happening before. But what we're going to do as a nation is come together and let's fix it. But no, they continuously lie, send talking points, and make it seem like you are crazy. And it's insane. It's dehumanizing as a people to think that we do not see and know what we know with our own eyes, and they're telling us something different and we're supposed to believe it because they said it. Insanity. It's insane. So no, it's not Russia's fault. Okay. So here we are with the second quarter economic contraction. Okay. So this is the U.S. domestic product shrank at an annual rate of 0.9% the second quarter. See, we're in a negative here. Now we know. Okay, see, now they don't even have any dates up here. All right. So, we got a percentage right here. All right. So, but see, they conveniently cut off the dates here. But anyway, this is still during the Biden administration here. But here we go. This is 2 quarters in a row. I don't even know what this is. How it read here, there must have been tax season and people got some checks or something. But baby, we were on negative 1.6% the first quarter, and negative 0.9% this quarter. And I even question these numbers that they haven't been fudged. Okay. The United States, the inflation surge and fear of a recession. Here we go. This fear of a recession. It's always the fear of something that they're trying to make into something that is already happening. We are already in a recession. So don't don't play with us with the fear of this happening when we're already there. We're already in there. So like I said, this is what we're looking at. Federal Chairman Jerome Powell and many other economists have said that while the economy is showing some weakening, they doubt it's in a recession. This is like me saying they doubt. That's like, I think. It's like me saying going outside and it's pouring down rain. And I'm standing in the rain and I say, I doubt if it's raining. I think that the sun is shining and it is really nice while I'm being drenched in water. My opinion doesn't matter. It's the facts. And when we have a federal chairman of the Federal Reserve, we have a president, we have our mainstream media, all of them talking about their feelings. Let's look at some facts. Let's look at the real definition of a recession. Again, the definition of a recession is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 consecutive quarters. Okay, that's the definition. How are we changing it? I just want to know. Somebody tell me. How did we ended up changing this? Because it's convenient for a group of people. Okay, he just said the economy has quickly lost steam in the face of the 4-decade high inflation, rapidly raising costs, and general tightening in financial conditions. No, it's been 4 decades of this. Okay, as far as this has been happening since 2022. People always sending me tips in. Let me turn down my phone. But in the meantime, Congress may be moving forward towards a proven action to fight inflation under the agreement Wednesday, with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin. Okay, they just approved this, but it's still more spending. You cannot combat inflation with more spending. I'm sorry, it's impossible. I don't want them to fix inflation. What I want them to do is let businesses take control and do what they need to do, because every time the government tries to fix inflation, recession, we end up in a really bad situation. But anyway, I'm just really for real here about. I'm putting the link of the article in the chat. But we're really here for real about this is definitely a recession. The government's first 3 estimates of the GDP for the April through June quarters mark a dramatic weakening from the 5.7% growth the economy achieved last year. Well, it achieved, why it achieved that? Because of stimulus checks. Stimulus checks was floated into the economy. Money was floated into the economy. That's why there was a growth of 5.7%. That's why. But anyway, I put that in the chat because the article is pretty long. I want you to know that we are definitely in a recession. It is what it is. The main thing now is for us to begin to take care of ourselves, what you should have been doing, which I should have been doing, we all should have been doing, but we can't go back in time. We cannot go back in time. We can only do what we can from going forward. So we're going to move on to our next story, and that is our headline stories, where the Republican lawmakers blast Biden administration to grant the protection of atheists overseas. And they're targeting, the program is targeting Southeast Asia and Northeast, Near Eastern Asia. The State Department has granted $500,000 to fund the promotion of the rights of atheists and other non-believers in Northeast and South Central Asia, has drawn fire from more than a dozen members of Congress who say the goal to push atheism, which they assert is a component of radical, progressive, orthodox worldwide. The 2021 grants were designed to allow members of minorities and marginalized groups, particularly atheists and non-believers, to network a campaign for their freedom alongside religious believers. But Representative Jim Banks, Indiana Republican, and 14 other signers of the letter to Joe Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the funds could be used to promote atheism. And they know that. They're ready for their own agenda, promoting their own religion. Pretty much it's going to be a religion, you know. So that's what they're promoting now, is the atheism that and so they're funding it. And that is something that is an abomination. So they're pretty much, I watched a video, I think it was who was it? Marcus Rogers. And I try to always give credit to who I watch a video from. So it was Marcus Rogers, I believe. And like he said, they're sending missionaries out. So this is what's happening. And it's one thing from the State Department to be tolerant and respectful of other wide range of belief systems, and to encourage governments to respect the religious freedom interests of their citizens, Mr. Banks writes. It is quite another for the United States government to work actively to empower atheists, humanists, non-participating, and non-affiliated in public decision making. So there we go. Because atheism is an integral part of the belief system of Marxism and communism, the letter says, Americans rightfully discern the grants as an element of the Biden administration's effort to promote radical, progressive, orthodox abroad. The Republican lawmakers contend that the grants prioritizes atheism and humanism above all other potential recipients and violates the First Amendment Establishment Clause, which prohibits the government from enacting any law respecting an established religion. All right. And that's what we have here. Now, are we surprised? This is what we get. We have to really know that this is what we get. This is what we're getting. Okay, we have someone says funds could be used to promote atheism, sure. And if you send money for aid relief in the place of lacking in food through funds, those funds could be used to buy drugs instead, edibles, thus food. So what? I mean, if people are using funds and have been since the beginning of time, since things have been money have been sent out to misappropriate funds. So pretty much, I respect your comment, but it is what it is. I I am not moved by your comments. But anyway, everyone, we have a lot of stories that we have captured today. I have this one last thing that we're going to go over. Yesterday, uh, I had so many lives. I had 3 lives just with me, and of course, we had the live from last night, Apostle Bail. And if you missed that, make sure you go back and see that. And I'm going to, once this video process, I'm going to put timestamps on certain things in the video. But anyway, I'm going to show this last thing, and definitely want you to check it out. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate you. This story is the one of the 22 states that are suing Joe Biden regarding the food process. So anyway,
22 states sue Biden administration over transgender rule for school lunch program. By Jeremiah Poff, Washington Examiner. 22 states sued the Biden administration for requiring states participating in the federal school lunch program to include gender identity and sexual orientation as protected under the definition of sex in Title IX. The lawsuit, filed Tuesday in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Tennessee, alleges the Department of Agriculture, which oversees the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which includes the National School Lunch Program, violated the Administrative Procedure Act when it issued a May 5 memorandum. The 22 states argue the school lunch decision also misinterpreted the 2020 Supreme Court case Bostock v. Clayton County, which expanded the definition of sex in employment law to include gender identity and sexual orientation. The directive by the Agriculture Department required school districts and states that wished to receive funds allocated for the National School Lunch Program to interpret Title IX, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in educational settings, to include gender identity and sexual orientation under the term sex, as was done by the Supreme Court in the Bostock decision. The lawsuit says the department, in issuing the memorandum, as well as subsequently finalizing a similar regulation from the end of the Obama administration that was never enacted, failed to follow APA requirements that agencies publish a notice of rulemaking and then provide for a period of public comment when making a regulatory change. It also claims that the department's policies are arbitrary, capricious, and abuse of discretion, or otherwise not in accordance with law and are premised on a misreading and unwarranted extension of Bostock. This case is, yet again, about a federal agency trying to change law, which is Congress's exclusive prerogative, Tennessee Attorney General Herbert Slattery said in a press release announcing the lawsuit. The USDA simply does not have that authority. We have successfully challenged the Biden administration's other attempts to rewrite law, and we will challenge this as well. Jonathan Butcher, an education fellow at the Heritage Foundation, told the Washington Examiner last month that the change in the department's policy immediately created a conflict with numerous state laws that require student athletes to compete based on their biological sex, a fact that was noted in the lawsuit. Enforcement of the USDA's memoranda could cause plaintiff states to lose significant federal funds from the USDA, the lawsuit says. Without funding from the USDA, students in the affected states would no longer be eligible for meals under the program, which almost exclusively serves low-income students. We all know the Biden administration is dead set on imposing an extreme left-wing agenda on Americans nationwide, Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita said in a press release. But they've reached a new level of shamelessness with this ploy of holding up food assistance for low-income kids unless schools do the left's bidding. Almost 30 million students are currently eligible for meals under the program, which served 1.3 billion lunches in the 2021 fiscal year.
Getting bored? Want to enjoy some relaxing music? Do you need to get updated with all the latest news but don't have enough time to watch TV for hours? Or do you need to get your praise and worship on? We have your solution to your problem. SaveNewsRadio.com got everything you need. Listen to SaveNewsRadio.com, filled with praise and worship 24/7, everywhere, in your home, laptop, or tablet, on your phone, in your car, and on Alexa. Install the Save News Radio skill on Alexa and then just say, "Alexa, launch Save News Radio." The beautiful, uplifting sounds of praise and worship music, ministries, news, and more. SaveNewsRadio.com, created to glorify God and edify the body of Christ.